Released in the summer of 1981, Escape from New York is one of writer-director John Carpenter's most beloved films, and for good reason. Produced on a budget of $6 million, a modest sum, even by 1981 standards, Escape from New York managed to be visually stylish, vast in scope, and feature striking special effects and production design. And Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken, arguably one of cinema's most memorable anti-heroes, is tremendous fun to watch. Then there is the plot. And here is where the movie falters tremendously. While John Carpenter is a master filmmaker, who is able to make a classic in almost every genre, he is also an ideologue, and like many of his self-penned movies, his biases and problematic worldview tend to bleed into his work, sometimes subtly, and sometimes blatantly. The film's plot is as follows. It is 1997, and a nearly destroyed New York City has become a walled prison for over 3 million convicted criminals. Snake Plissken, an ex-soldier turned convict, is sent to Manhattan, now part of the maximum security prison, to rescue the U.S. president who has been kidnapped by the National Liberation Front of America, a terrorist group. John Carpenter, a self-described far-left nihilist, and who wrote the script in the 1970s as a reactionary story in the wake of the Watergate scandal, makes many predictions. All of them proved to be false. As Kyle Smith writes in his New York Post article on the film, Escape from New York plays on the then common perception that New York was an ungovernable city, that crime was bound to keep growing because crime was a legitimate reaction to economic oppression. An aide to Nixon-era Mayor John Lindsay once said, "It's better to have a few broken windows than to have this place burned down." In the movie, the lady terrorist who helps kidnap the president at the beginning says, "The National Liberation Front of America, in the name of the workers and all of the oppressed of this imperialist country, has struck a fatal blow to the racist police state." But 1997 came and went, and New York never became the hellish police state that Carpenter envisioned. Instead, it was cleaned up, and became one of the most popular cities in the world. As Smith writes in his piece, what Carpenter didn't foresee was that the criminal class would never be more than a small minority within New York, and that its gains could be reversed by simple toughness. Today, Escape from New York, which at the time seemed like it had tapped into a chilling truth about the dark direction of the city, stands as one of the most hilariously wrong prophecies ever made. End quote. That is not to say that the film's giddily paranoid tone isn't fun to watch, or that Escape from New York isn't a minor classic of its genre, and one of Carpenter's most polished films. But like almost all of Carpenter's oeuvre, it is subversive, and not in a particularly elegant way, and its pessimistic take on the shape of things to come, has to be taken with a grain of salt.